Grocery prices are not going down, and here's why. Welcome to the Today Times, where everything is worse and more expensive.
That report is predicting food prices will go up again in 2026.
Before the pandemic, before all the inflation, before they printed a bunch of money and all this stuff, you used to probably go into the store and get your grocery bill was probably 1/3 to half of the price that it is now, depending on what items that you frequent.
It's $70 for 3 steaks. It's too expensive for you.
There's no way that people think prices are still reasonable. 2 bags of chips and that French onion dip, it was $16.
Almost completely stopped buying steak because the price of beef, and specifically beef, is just absolutely off their rocker. I really don't know how people are sustaining this or what they're doing or what. Going to Costco is like a cost-saving measure, right? You go to Costco, you save money because you're just buying bulk. That still does apply, but still, like things like steak, the prices that I'm seeing are just astronomical. So why are grocery prices higher than before the pandemic? Because prices went up fast in COVID and never came back down. Even when the inflation slowed, food companies kept the prices high. Grocery chains learn that people will still buy the essentials no matter what the price, so prices don't fall unless the sales collapse. So it's not one thing, it's locked-in inflation, higher costs, climate hits, smaller products, and corporate pricing power. That's why your grocery bill still feels broken in 2026. And that's basically why your grocery bill is higher. They realized that they could squeeze us, and they basically realized how much they could squeeze the consumer. And I get the excuses that they used to give, like COVID, supply chain issues, tariffs, bird flu killing the chickens, but the truth is that those things caused the initial price hike, but doesn't explain why the prices never came back down. Or why they continued to make shrinkflation worse, or they continued to make the product worse even after the price hikes, quote unquote. Costs eventually did stabilize, rent hasn't really gone up that much anymore. In some instances, it's actually reducing a little bit, so they can't blame that. The tariffs are, I guess that's the most ever-changing thing. Everything else has stabilized at all of the costs that they quote-unquote faced, right? So why are they continuing to make things smaller? And why are they continuing to make the quality of things just worse? The reason is unfortunately true is that these companies realized that they could squeeze us during the pandemic. So instead of lowering the prices, they locked them in. Smaller portions, higher prices, same quality. Not the same quality, actually. Smaller portions, higher prices, and probably worse quality in most products. It wasn't about inflation, it was a stress test. And we all failed. Congratulations. Not only that, not only are prices really high, but the quality of what you're getting is just extremely worse. If you ever take the label on something and you read the back, the amount of stuff that they're adding to things is just horrible. I'm not somebody who's super scared of seed oils, but sometimes there's a bunch of oils and things that do not need oils. I bought an oat milk actually for my lattes, and the oat milk on the back was the barista special, right? And so what they did to make it the barista special is just add a bunch of seed oils to it in the back. And it's okay, this is not necessary to have a bunch of oil. I know you're trying to so that it makes more cream or something, but it's just really not necessary. So, and let's talk about also shrinkflation, right? We have the same packaging, the same chips are just, the bag is just pretty much empty, but the price is the same or even more. The amount of items at the store where they are giving you less amount of the item and charging you more, and they're charging you the same or more is super wild. Every time you go into the store, the prices are a little bit different. That's not in your head, they're doing that on purpose. Sometimes I order food delivery. The prices will be completely different from one order to the next. This is apparently intentional. More Perfect Union did an amazing video on this topic of the surge pricing, and some stores are even trying to implement it with these little tags that are little TV screens or whatever, and they change depending on what the store feels like putting at the time. Feels like it should, price gouging in other senses is typically illegal, but now there's this gray area or something because of the apps. So inflation is technically slowed, but the prices are not going down, so what is happening? It could all be boiled down to greed, and then this video would end and you don't have to hear me yapping anymore. But I think there's a lot of things at play. Greed being the number one. I do think there's a lot of greed. Businesses just know that they can get away with it, so they continue to do it. They know that if they increase the eggs by 19 cents, and that's not really going to make it or break it whether you order. And also, but the most egregious thing is that in that More Perfect Union video that I was watching, they are actually testing your data from your phone and seeing like your consumer behavior, and they know where the line is that they can push you, where you will still purchase. That's crazy that nothing is being done about that specifically. So like if they know that, they might have data on me that they know that it doesn't matter what price they put the eggs at, I'll probably buy it. I mean, it would have to be like $15 or something, I guess, for me to not buy it, but they could probably push me a lot on eggs, and I'm gonna buy them. I think this all boils down to, during COVID, these brands realized that they could push customers to the edge and they would tolerate it. There are certain products where people are so hooked that they will buy it no matter the price. An example for me is eggs. Like, I will probably buy eggs. Like, it would have to be like $20, $15, $20 for a carton of eggs that I wouldn't buy it. But anything kind of in between, like, I would probably do it. I just really like eggs, and they probably know that data on me. They'll probably use this video as part of the data. They have so much information on us and our purchasing history and all these different things that they are totally using it against us. Now, in some physical stores, they can't really fully do that, but they still have data on what people purchase and at what prices they purchase things. They know that if they push the oat milk to $5, then like they can optimize with all the data that they have. With all the data that they have from consumers, they can optimize the different prices. Even if they're not implementing surge pricing yet, they still know right at that edge where they can push you, where people will still buy the product. Another thing too is that they can do region-based pricing. Maybe people in Florida buy beans more than the people in Arkansas, so they know that where they can make their little margin and where they can push people more over here and push them less over here. Where before it used to be like kind of like more of like a standardized pricing that they would do across the board, and that's just what it costed. And you'd go there on Tuesday and it would cost the same thing as it costed on Monday. And let's go back to shrinkflation. Just the fact that they are giving you less of the item for more money, for the same or more money, typically more money, okay. Quietly, they're also adding crappier ingredients to it. The meat is worse. There's less meat. The chicken nuggets, if you buy Tyson nuggets, they used to be pretty big. They're like literally something like this now. They know exactly where they can push, and they will do that to try and like appease investors and stuff. And I get it, it's the free market or whatever. I'm not like necessarily anti-capitalist or something, but like I think that we are being pushed to the point that like has to happen is that consumers just stop buying. But I don't know, things could be regulated, because like the surge pricing thing just seems like something that should be illegal. You can't just price gouge people based. In fact, that kind of discrimination is typically illegal, but they can skirt it by saying that it's not based on age or gender or anything, but it's like they're definitely making decisions based off of individual data that they have. So it seems like it would be illegal or potentially some sort of class action sort of thing. Another issue is consolidation. There's so many monopolies and like just one brand that owns everything. I'm looking at you, Nestle. And it's kind of like that across the board. Like there's just these parent brands that own all of the little brands under them, but really it's owned by the same conglomerate. So there's obviously, when there's not as much competition, they can kind of get away with more. There's not a lot of competition, and people are just kind of putting up with whatever slop these brands throw at us. The other thing that they can argue is like, well, wages stayed up, the real estate of our stores stayed up, and all these different things. And yeah, that's true, but still, like I still feel like they just have record profits and they're really just trying to squeeze us for as much juice as possible. And it's the typical thing with like every other kind of business and things, is that they have all these pressures from Wall Street where they don't want to lower their prices, and then they don't want to lower their prices, and then like their stock goes down and the Wall Street gets mad because like there's less profit. So they don't want to hurt their bottom line, so they don't hurt the investors, and then thus lose money. And it's all kind of the same. Like this all ties in. This whole channel has become into like the ramblings of a mad lady about the economy and businesses and the quality of things going down. But I mean, that's kind of what's happening right now, and just across the board with AI and with grocery prices and with different businesses like Wendy's and fast food and everything is just worse. Like I'm definitely preaching to the choir. Like I'm sure whoever's watching this is probably feeling the same thing as me, but I don't know what could be necessarily done other than offering better products for like something will change where people will stop giving these brands their money and start paying with their wallets, or maybe a competitor will come along and be like able to compete with this. So prices are probably not going to come down. And what does that mean for you? That means, well, for starters, I think that there should be some sort of law or some sort of class action done against surge pricing. That just seems not sustainable or just not right. I don't know. That just seems like they shouldn't be able to do that. And then the second thing is paying with your wallet. You know, like if you see that if it's a product that you really don't need and you see that they are raising the price on you and like just don't buy it or buy another brand. I don't know if like that's hard to do sometimes because it really is like just one brand, or like how we talked about earlier, it's like a parent company that owns a bajillion little brands. So it's really hard to like support like the smaller local brand. Maybe just supporting local brands if possible.